You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
Bring back at my check on the ones and twos.
Man, bring it back.
Hey, like you never ever seen them before. With the gentleman from the basement, King Dog, David Mayhem Wilkes, without the meddlesome BS3. Welcome to another episode of the Fourcast. You got King Dog and you got Mayhem in the building.
Hey.
We are reviewing today Jerry Springer Fights, Camera Action, a nice little play on words there instead of Fights, Camera Action, Fights, Camera Action. Ben is out today. Brian is out today, so it's the two cast. And I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell they were thinking.
Oops.
We'll get into introductions here in just a moment. Before we do, just want to remind everybody we're live on Roku. Search BS3 TV. Like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for all of you viewing on YouTube.
Yes.
You can get us on our website, www.bs3network.com, Roku channel, bs3tvlive.com. You can also get us there. Again, today's episode is Jerry Springer Fights, Camera Action. But before we do, let's talk to Mr. Mayhem and see if he got anything special in his cup and what he with today.
Meet this thing. Yeah, no, doing good. Just got a glass of Indian whiskey tonight. Nothing crazy. But
that Indian?
No,
what kind
Asian Indian? Yeah.
Indians, they say they can't hold their liquor, don't they?
That's what I heard. They still all. Yeah, you give them their liquor. That's it, man. They all over the place. That's why they tell them they land, man.
I love it. Well, this is going to be a bit of a challenge for me tonight because I'm having to produce the show. Normally, I have to do this on Queen 3 and King, right?
Yeah.
And I've I don't have to produce it because we have a producer. No offense to our producer, but I used to have to work the dials and controls and stuff like that.
Right,
we got a producer, so I wouldn't have to worry about that. So I could just concentrate on
just
doing what Mayhem name says and just dropping mayhem, causing wreaking havoc,
Yes.
Same thing here. I'm normally used to just wreaking havoc, but I got to do some control. So I'm going to need Mayhem to just take full control of the Mayhem chaos meter today and make sure if we're not close to red like we normally are, that we get there.
Yeah. Well, I usually go over it. So, speaking of, ladies, please send your panties to Mayhem Mail. If you're going to mail it, please. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Please send them there. Do not send them nowhere close to me.
We lost the host. Well, I guess that's all for me. Wait a minute. I guess it's just me tonight. So how y'all doing out there? We lost the host, so I got no controls.
See what I'm talking about? He hit one wrong button. See, I really went away. That was probably the Lord saving me, saying, "Get out of there quick! Abort! Yeah, don't do me.
Yeah, I was like, they got me here by myself. Great.
Don't at all.
Yeah.
Write me. Don't look at my way. Don't do nothing having to do with me.
Just
All right, let's go ahead and get on the end of this thing. Again, Jerry Springer fights camera action.
Yeah.
I'll do what I normally do, and I'll give our plot and overview.
Yeah.
So this jaw-dropping documentary goes behind the scenes of America's most controversial talk show to expose its biggest scandals, both on and off camera. It stars, and really these are just some of the voices and the people that they interview for the most part. The main three: Robert Fetter, who is some sort of media critic, I suppose.
I think so.
That's the bald-headed guy with the glasses that's doing the most judgmental talking, right?
Right, yeah.
Tobias Yoshimura, which was one of the producers, and then Richard Dominic, which was the main guy. That's the main director, producer that you saw with the glasses, the beard, dark hair that they would always show on Jerry Springer. You know, as Jerry was walking on and off stage, he'd always stop by Richard. So that's the man behind the thing. Right. So initial thoughts, man.
Man, I have to say it, you know, as soon as I saw this, I was immediately taken back to my high school days, because if you didn't go to school talking about, did you see what happened on Jerry Springer in the 90s, you know, and what was happening, I mean, you just missed out. So watching this just kind of just took me back, and how it became, and it's funny because I do remember him starting out as this just a normal talk show. Everything was straight laced and, you know, tell me how you guys are doing today. But then all of a sudden it took a turn, and it's like, this guy's boring. Like, we need to step this up a notch. So I remember those different phases of Jerry Springer, and even before the fights, because when it was a Jerry Springer show, they weren't fighting yet. So just to watch the transition from the beginning to the end, which I didn't realize it was still coming on, and they canceled it in 2018. I was like, man, they still showing Jerry? But I think it toned down a little bit by 2018. I think they toned it down. But I enjoyed watching. I do remember, like I said, I think Jerry was the first one that I saw where you could buy the seasons on DVD, which I'm surprised they didn't get into that. But I enjoyed it. It took me back.
Yeah. Responsible for these. I didn't know. I didn't. It's not that I didn't know. I knew that it was a more of a straight lace show early on, but I wasn't really catching it then. You know, for the main reasons is because it quickly got relegated to overnights. You know, so I think it was coming on at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
I ain't never been no, night owl, so to speak. So I wasn't catching it. But shows back then were doing things such as reuniting people after 35 years and stuff like that. Your typical talk show type stuff, right? That Oprah was doing, or Phil Donahue, we talked about him last week, was doing, or Sally Jesse Raphael, those kinds of people were doing. Jerry was doing it, just not as well.
Right, exactly.
Not as well. As you well know, if you've watched this, it starts right in Chicago. Chicago is the hub again. That's why I wish H-Rap was on here, so he can kind of give us his take on the Chicago thing, because Chicago was the hub and hotbed of all those talk shows.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Back in the day, were you aware of that at the time, that everything was happening in Chicago?
I didn't. I knew it, but I didn't pay attention to it. Right. It was one of those things where it's just like, kind of like with New York, like everything was like the media, NBC, the Today Show, stuff like that. But now that you talk about that, I was like, man, you're right. It was like an epicenter of just like talk shows.
Yeah, and I wonder why Chicago. Like, what about it that made the talk show central? It's like, San Francisco is the home of tech, right? I forget what they call it now. It's at the tip of my tongue.
Silicon Valley.
So there you go, Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Which is 100% true. When I went there for a Cowboys game, it is all over the place, man. It is tech, So did you ever understand why Chicago? How did Chicago become?
Not really. Oprah wasn't even solidified yet, so you can't say Oprah's the one that did the fuse, but. Yeah, I don't really. That's why I said I wish I was hoping H-Rap would be on for that, because I really can't answer that. I don't know why. Was it a flight? Because they're not any more centrally located than we are they?
I was gonna say, was it ease of flights necessarily?
Well, kind of to your point, kind of like what they said on Jerry Spronger's documentary. The people that they went after were kind of in a triangle.
I don't think that. I think that was happenstance.
But that had to be
they were targeted. That's almost like Florida Man, right? You know, it's like that's just where these knuckleheads happen to be.
That's where they
didn't understand that until after the fact. That if you really looked at it, you know,
I don't know why Chicago. I mean, like you said, to your point, maybe it was just a bustling city. I mean, you got art, you got one of the most famous art schools are there. The Art Institute of Chicago is there. Which is a part of the culinary school. You've got your art museums. You got the Sears Tower. So I mean, there's just so much going on. There's so much culture. I mean, even Saturday Night Live, even SNL would like refer back to Chicago, and the skits they would do would be from things from Chicago. So I think the Chicago in the 70s and 80s, and even the 90s, it was that town. It was that area.
Well, what's funny is that Dr. Phil later on, like Dr. Phil's filmed in Los Angeles.
Yes.
You know, so that's interesting because I visited his studio. So not 100% sure on that.
Yeah.
Okay. If you are watching, please make sure you comment. Let us know what you think. If you give us your memories of Jerry Springer, or if we're talking about something you want to input on, please do not hesitate to do so. Okay. So let's see. Where do I want to go? Okay. So Jerry was a former mayor. Were you aware of that at the time?
Later on. I didn't know that in the beginning. Later, because I had heard something about he was like in Ohio and all that, but that was later. I mean,
he was a Cincinnati mayor.
Yeah.
Now, okay, let me do this too, just to kind of give you. So this was broken down. This is it's really what they call a limited series. Okay. Netflix is putting a lot of good ones out there on that, by the way. But it's a limited series, and this one is only 2 episodes. So a very easy watch. You can get through them quickly. You know, time flies watching these, which I guess is a good sign, right? Episode 1 is headlined as saying ex-politician and news anchor Jerry Springer's talk show becomes the most controversial thing ever seen on TV at the hands of a ruthless new producer. Take care of your. Oh, that was my. So ruthless new producer. So Richard Dominic is that ruthless new producer. So as they mentioned, it takes a turn once he came on board. So when it was doing that wholesome talk show stuff, they were getting killed in the ratings. They were literally dead last. So they bring on this new producer. They're again on at 2:00 in the morning, Richard Dominic, and to give me your take on how he approached coming onto the show.
Yeah, I felt like he came into the show kind of, assessing what was happening. More like, man, this is not what I'm used to. I came from the tabloids. Like, this is not going to work. So if you're going to give me the reins, I need tabloid for TV. Now, it was one of those things where it was like I mentioned last week, Morton Downey Jr. was one show that was just off the rails. But when he came in and kind of assessed things, he was just, like he said, it was like, oh, we're reuniting families. That's great, but that's not everybody's doing that. And like he said, you had already had talk shows. It was just another talk show again. So it was like, how can we stand out from the other talk shows? Like, what can we do differently?
Well said. Yeah, and the most important piece of that is that he came from the tabloids.
Yeah,
you all know the tabloids. We've all been standing in line at the grocery store.
Oh yes,
and it says, I got abducted by aliens, or I married an alien, or 3-headed woman, gives birth to a lion. I mean, some crazy. And that was his job, is to write headlines for the tabloids. Now we had talked about Jerry Springer, another important aspect early on. We talked about Jerry Springer and his life before the Jerry Springer show, and he was a news anchor. And so the whole take care of yourselves and each other was being said before the Jerry Springer show. He was saying that on his news cast as his closing tagline, right?
Yeah, because he would do his final thoughts.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, even what we do, right? Podcasting, we try to find some sort of catchy tagline at the end. It's one of the reasons why we go to H-Rap on this show.
Exactly.
With his stuff, you know, and if you remember the first couple of years of the Fourcast, he was saying something different. He changed it at some point.
He changed it at a point, yeah.
But that's what we're trying to do. We got Keisha in the building. She's down as LaShawn Walker now. I don't know who she's hiding from.
I can't keep up, man.
Who she's hiding from. We gonna call her K-Rap today. She says, good evening, my brothers. What's up, Keisha? So Richard Dominic, again, back to him. He said he wanted this to be good with the sound off.
Yes.
Right. You know, so because he's like, it's 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
You know, a lot of people are gonna have the sound down because it's 2:00.
It's 2:00 in the morning. Exactly.
I want to wake the rest of the house.
Right.
I needed to be able to catch their attention.
Yep.
How many times did you see the Jerry Springer show that would have fit the bill?
Hey, I have to say, there was some time we're like, whoa, hell, I've been asleep and wake up and be like, what the hell is going on?
Right. You've been thinking about the KKK show, right?
Yeah.
You wake up and you see 3 motherfuckers in KKK on one side, and the other side, the Black Panthers in this
man.
What the hell?
I got to turn it up. Yeah, I got to turn it up. Like, what am I missing?
Yeah,
absolutely.
He hit the
and it's so funny when I saw that, because I realized when I want to get to sleep, I've seen Three's Company 1,000 times. I don't need volume on Three's Company.
Right.
How many times am I going to watch Jack trip over that couch?
They call him Jack Tripper.
Yeah.
Right. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Rest in power. Okay, so the Jerry chant is something that Richard Dominic. So he made it a deal. He says, he tells him, he goes, when he comes on into the studio, I need the entire audience on their feet chanting his name. So he was trying to create a superstar out of
you had never seen this guy. Yeah.
You know, and making everybody be like, who is he? Why are they chanting for him like that? You know, and he basically used a conformational behavior model, right? You know, so to speak. But he made you think it would FOMO, right? You were missing out on
exactly. Like, who's this guy?
What am I missing? You know?
Yeah.
So I think that worked, and you got the famous Jerry chant out of it.
Oh,
Jerry.
Oh, yeah.
Which eventually became, when right after a fight, they gonna start chanting Jerry. That's what
it took off. Yeah. I mean, even the audience changed. Did you notice that? I mean, it went from
it was straight face audience, man. You saw some of the people in the audience were so reserved and so, but they were even talking about they were having to give tickets away.
Yeah,
you know, to the show because nobody didn't want to come to it.
Nobody wanted to show up. Then the whole demographic changed. I mean, it was crazy. A lot of happened.
Yeah. So you know, again, they went to some of these racial shows. Like it was early on, race was one of the things they went to. And I remember this show, and even in this episode, it talks about this racist was there talking about Jews and stuff like that, you know, and he was talking about blacks and talking about you the slaves and, you know, and Jews, you were slaves 400 years ago, and it was telling him this stuff or whatever. And Jerry made a comment. He goes, we're all laughing at you because you're stupid, you know, or whatever. And they said one of the biggest keys for Jerry is that he didn't judge anybody. He believed in free speech. He goes, look, he goes, I may not agree with what you say, but I'll fight to the death for your freedom to say it, you know?
Right.
And he says, and there's proof of that by having those guys on. He's the son of Holocaust survivors. Did you remember or recognize that aspect of it back in the day?
I want to say I heard something lightly about it, but I did not really. I think this kind of brought it full circle.
Yeah.
I think I heard something touched about it. Maybe in like a final thought, I want to say maybe he mentioned it, but
something about it.
Yeah.
So he was putting people on. He's like, look, I'm putting people on that I don't even agree with. So it wasn't about, you know, I'm pushing my agenda, you know. Richard Dominic just wanted to be in a situation where he's like, you know, we can't do normal. He goes, we got to take a talk show, the idea of a talk show, and turn it upside down on its head.
Right.
And in order to do that, we got to have controversial topics. That race topic was one, sex was one. You notice that they had all types of sex workers or strippers, or they had something there. So that started getting ratings, right? And what changed the game is when they had this racial show on, and they went after each other, and they were like a bell went off that it was the highest rated show they had ever had. And they were doing everything they could to keep these people from killing each other on stage. Right. It was raw emotion. It wasn't no fake. They were trying to kill each other.
Literally. It wasn't coaching you. And then,
Right. So as a result, they started realizing, okay, fights is how we gonna do this. Know. And so as they described it, they said, okay, now this is the critic described it as this. He was like, it was a talk show with very little talking.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was more fighting than talking.
As soon as they came out, they were ready.
Yeah. And then they start ringing that bell, right? Even when they wasn't fighting, they start ringing the bell, to indicate it's time to start fighting.
Right.
Talk to me about your first exposure to the fighting, and what you thought about that.
I couldn't. I want to say that the Klan and the Black Panthers. I want to say that was the first that was the first one that I think I witnessed, and I was just like, "Whoa, wait a minute! They ever fight? Like what's happening?" I had never seen anything like that before on TV. It was just like, God, dang, this is what we doing. Right. How often do they do it, or will they keep it going? And then, like I said, once that became a thing, that's why it took me back to when I was in high school, because the next conversation in the cafeteria tomorrow was, "Did you see Jerry Springer last night?"
Really?
Did you see the fight? Okay. And that's what I remember growing up. So when I saw that, I was just like, "Oh, this is crazy. Like, what is going on right now?" And it was just something that I just blew my mind, because I'm thinking, they ain't no, where the police, where the security at? They're trying to regulate anything.
Right.
So it blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, okay, this can't be real. Like, this has got to be staged.
Yeah.
Because they started comparing it to wrestling.
Yeah, they sure did. The only difference is wrestling was fake. This was
right.
Shout out to Cole Johnson. He's tuning in. Cole, if I'd have known we would be missing Ben and A-Trap, I'd ask you to jump in today, because I'm sure you got some very interesting takes on Jerry Springer and the history and whatnot. We're going to pause really quick for a quick word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Dallas, home of Mr. Cajun, daiquiris and Cajun food, New Orleans cuisine. Mr. Cajun got the best daiquiris in the city. Yeah, you heard me right. The best daiquiris in the city with multiple locations. Yeah, it's Mr. Cajun. I'm telling you, he got it all. I'm talking about burl crab legs, oxtail, chicken wings, and real authentic daiquiris. And don't forget about that world famous original gumbo. Yeah, it's Mr. Cajun's Daiquiri, located in Dallas, Texas. And it don't stop there. And Mr. Cajun's got a new location coming soon, opening January 1st, 2025. And coming soon, you're going to love this. The Vibe by Mr. Cajun, summer 2025. Mr. Cajun is taking over Dallas, Texas as the original Mr. Cajun Daiquiri and Cajun food. So stop by anytime and all locations. It's Mr. Cajun.
It's too bad I didn't tell my wife before she went out to run an errand to bring me back a strawberry mango daiquiri with tahini all over it.
Nice.
You're listening in the car by chance, your husband won't be mad at you if you came home with the biggest strawberry mango with tahini all over the place.
I have not been there yet.
Oh, dude.
I have not been there yet.
You're doing yourself a disservice, man.
I know, and I see it if I run up to the grocery store. I don't know what I'm doing.
And I've been meaning to let you know too. We got to have you in the building on the 28th. Okay, that's Tuesday. Queen 3 and King broadcasting live, 7 p.m. We need you in the building.
Oh, I got to be in there then. I got to leave early.
Put it on your account. That'll be Queen 3 and King's first live remote.
Oh, I gotta be there.
And so be prepared to jump on too. You're not just gonna be in the building. Be prepared to jump on.
Oh yeah, I gotta get there. 28th. Yeah,
28th, Tuesday the 28th. So anybody who lives, Dallas, Garland, Mesquite, Rockwall, Rowlett, Terrell, coming. You know, he's given, I want to say he's given a free daiquiri with a gumbo purchase.
Y'all having it there?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna be there. It's gonna be there at the location in Forney, the Forney Mr. Cajuns. Again, he's given free daiquiri with the purchase of gumbo. You know,
I gotta get there.
Come on in. Yeah. The king will be at least 2 or 3 daiquiris in by the time you get there, I'm sure.
Well, I'm sure I need to be at least 3 whiskeys in. I'll be all right.
So we're still on episode 1. Richard Dominic, new producer. He's taking it to new heights. They're getting ratings now. Violence equals ratings. And the producer started talking about the amount of pressure they were under.
Yes.
Guests, you know. And, you know, it's kind of this situation where they would have pitch meetings, right? And some, even now to today, well, it's news and the media has changed so much, but shows and news outlets and stuff like that have pitch meetings, you know, where you go in and you say, hey, what about an idea? We do a show on this. We kind of do it with this, right? But we just do it differently. We don't do it live. We do it in our chat, right? To where we'll send a thing and say, hey, what if we review this? For instance, mine, I pitched an entire month, February. Let's do music, black music documentaries, right? So in the month of February, we're going to be doing documentaries on Michael Jackson, Prince, Luther, and what's the other guy? Shine, right?
Shine. Shine.
So the month of February. So they do it. They do these pitch meetings, and they were high pressure, you know. And so did you get an idea of how many producers they had? Because again, Richard Dominic was the executive producer and director. Did you get an idea of how many they had under them?
I mean, they may have more, but the ones that were prominent, it looks like there was those three. Those three were pretty...
They must have had 6 or 7.
Yeah.
They basically said they had 200 shows a year, and each producer was responsible for anywhere between 30 to 40 shows.
Yeah.
How many shows you end up getting depended on how many of your pitches were accepted, you know? So, and the crazier the idea,
right. Yes. Yeah, I caught that. I was like, I think you had the 3 generals, if you will, and then they had the people under them. But yeah, I'm crazy. I'm surprised they didn't have Wilco on this one.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, interesting. So now, you know, they're getting all these ratings. They moved them from just a 2 a.m. time slot to now they're putting them on at 11 a.m. and 2 a.m. So now they're on twice a day, which is called the double run in the industry.
Yeah.
And when you're on twice, you get double ratings. Did you, number one, know they were on twice? And number 2, did you know that's how ratings work?
No, I didn't, because I didn't know if these were reruns or what was new, because there was something coming on at 11 a.m., but then they're coming on at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Or they're coming on back to back or something like that. You know, I didn't know what was syndication and what was like a new season, because they weren't really keeping up with seasons then. But I was just like, man, they're on quite a bit, you know. So that was news to me.
Think about that. We have to come up with 52 shows maximum in a year, right?
Yeah.
And it's not going to be 52 because we're going to have some weeks that we miss, right? Holidays, you know, whatever. We got conflicts. We're not going to do 52 shows in a week. In a year. You know, we might do 45, you know, or something like that here. You know, but all of us aren't going to be present, right?
Right.
But so to have to do 200 shows in a year, you know, there's only 365 days in a year. So they doing shows.
They double up.
Like they ain't taking very much vacation. You know?
Right. Yeah, they can't leave them ratings, man.
Yeah. So they getting these ratings at first, you know. So what did you think about this? You heard this, they talking about at first, when they first started doing this stuff, before the ratings started hitting, they started threatening them every day, like, don't do another show like that. We're gonna cancel y'all.
That was crazy. Because I thought that was like holding your feet to the fire. I'm like, man, how much? I mean, then you started having people like, and now they calling you, they're reaching out to you. Now you gotta woo the people. We gotta, you know, send limos, and how can we get you out? And like, oh, we gotta convince the people that Jerry wants to help you. They were under a lot of pressure. So it was one of those things. Well, I didn't know any of that was going on.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I thought once they got there, it was all staged. But they were preying on real situations, you know.
I don't think that's one of the things about it. I never doubted that it was real. I don't. The fact that they're talking about that now,
Yeah.
I'm like, I never doubted that this stuff was.
Well,
real.
I think, and I think that's why they were talking about it. Because I think a lot of people doubted it. That's why I was like, man, this has got to be staged. This can't be what is happening. But I learned. But
because you didn't believe society was like that, right? Which that brings us to censorship and the show now being under fire, saying that it was part of the degradation of society.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like this to me. Did the show degrade society, or did the show just simply show what society was already?
I think the show. I think the show just showed what society already was. That's why it kills me when I hear people say, "Oh, we're not like this. Isn't us. This isn't America." No, the hell it is. This is who you've always been. This is who you always been.
Isn't there a show out there that says "This is America" or something like that?
I think so.
Some kind of news show. I don't think it's wild and crazy. I think it's pretty straight laced show,
but it's pretty straight to the point. Like
the title is catchy. This is America. Like you're about to show us, and in fact, probably that show doesn't really show us America as well as the Jerry Springer show.
Right, exactly, and that's what I was saying. It was just like, this is who the hell we are. What are you talking about? Oh, we don't act. Yeah, we do act like this. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, they were saying things such as the show was against God. It's the wrong side of humanity. In fact, Jerry even had to appear in front of Congress.
Right.
Did you remember that?
I don't remember that. I didn't know it went that serious. All I remember is Jerry just doing his shows. I didn't know he had to be presented in front of Congress. That was new to me. I didn't know that.
Now, this is the part that I thought we were going to. I really was looking forward to a 4-person conversation about this. And this is the censorship aspect of it.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about censorship in general? In terms of there being this governing body that censors your content.
Well, my name is Mayhem. I honestly, I don't think there needs to. I mean, I know it's crazy. I'm wrong, but I don't know. I don't think you really need it. I think because we need to know that this is the ugly truth. Yeah. This is the.
Yeah, I made myself a note. I'm like, it's a TV show. If you don't want it, if you don't like it, don't watch it.
Exactly.
It's
because
like
this is what's happening.
Yeah, this was before where we're at now, where you got 1,000 TV shows and 5,000 choices with all the platforms, Netflix and Hulu and YouTube TV and Amazon Prime and Apple TV and HBO and Showtime and you got all these platforms, right? So if you don't like something, you can easily go find something else.
Exactly, with no problem.
Yeah, go watch PBS all day long if you want to.
And trust me, Jerry Springer was definitely in that vein of let me watch David Letterman, or let me watch Jay Leno, or let me watch Golden Girl reruns or something like that. Martin or NYPD Blue or something like that was on New York Undercover. So you didn't have to watch that. Yeah, and that's why it was interesting because I had never seen those interviews with Oprah. That's the first time I had seen it.
Now that I did know that she was offended by Jerry Springer.
See, I didn't know that.
And I'm like, stay in your lane. I don't understand why you even giving that no airspace. You're supposed to be Oprah, right? You were the goat. You were the bell cow. You were a cow. You were a real cow too. You were a bell cow.
Gotcha. Yeah. So.
Gotcha, nigga. What Dave Chappelle?
Gotcha,
bitch. So you are the bell cow, though. Why are you even? What would we say in a situation like this? What would we as parents tell our kids? Don't even dignify that with a response. Don't even give it a time of day. Don't even give it in the earth.
Right.
So why would she?
And that would play perfect for Oprah because just like he was on Jay Leno, he was on David Letterman. Oprah could have welcomed him on the show and been like, Jerry.
The dog thought we were talking to her when we said, gotcha, bitch.
Yeah. Sorry.
Get it?
Not you.
Not
the other bit. Sorry.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
The other one.
I think that would have been a moment for Oprah to pounce on and be like, I'm going to have Jerry Springer. I'm going to have my rival with ratings. I'm going to have
been fantastic.
Oh, that was a perfect time to pounce on it.
See, people don't think like that. And I think the people who do like Howard Stern would do something like that.
Oh yes. Oh
You know what
yes.
I'm saying? Which is why he's probably dubbed the king of all media, right?
Right.
Because I think the ones who are successful, in fact, the radio station that you listen to a lot, The Ticket,
Your ticket. Oh
a lot
yes.
of outside the box stuff.
Yeah.
They have their competitors on.
Yep.
You know, they're the
Why
kind of
not?
people who do that. You know, their enemies, they would have them on. In
Right.
fact, with the Super Bowl's coming up,
It's-
BS3 Network just got our approval.
Yeah.
It'll be in New Orleans
That's
this
the
year.
time.
So
Yeah.
we will be there covering the Super Bowl again this year. But
Yeah.
that radio station, every year, there's a couple of stations across the country that they don't get along well with, and they don't shy away from trying to have them on, or
And
whatever.
that's okay. And I think you need that camaraderie.
Yeah, those other stations don't get down. They don't understand
Yeah.
that dynamic, But again, this is the highest rated radio show
Right.
in DFW for the longest, not just sports show, highest rated radio show of
That's
all
that's
demographics.
probably like the Breakfast Club versus the Shade.
There you go.
Sway. Sorry, but it's kind of like one of those things. Situations where, I mean, you got to the point where Ellen, before Oprah went off, Ellen was challenging Oprah a little bit.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those things where, Oprah was getting ready to kind of call it a day, but Ellen was going after those views.
Yeah. But censorship, in my estimation, okay, this is we have, what's funny is that the conservatives, who are all about, rights and preserving rights, right?
Yeah.
Probably doing the most complaining about this, right?
Oh yeah.
You're all about freedom of speech until it offends me.
Exactly. And nobody told you, and you weren't offended until somebody told you were offended.
Right. There you go. There you go. You see. But I think Jerry said it best. He said a couple of things. I said one of them earlier, but he said the media should reflect all elements of a free society.
Absolutely.
So that means it ain't gonna always look exactly like you. It ain't gonna always talk exactly like you. It ain't gonna always think exactly like you. But it should reflect all elements of a free society.
And I think that's what hinders things, because they want to make it look like it looks like one shade and it's all. No, it's not like that. That's not how that works. That's why I say it again. It kills me when I hear people, if something tragic happens in the United States or around the world, but definitely the United States, in your backyard, oh, this isn't how we are as Americans. This is not who. Yes, the hell we are. We're humans. We're
exactly
people.
who we are. It's exactly who you are.
Exactly.
And I think people, they don't want to know it. They want to be asleep to it. What's that? The ostrich that sticks his head in the sand or whatever.
They
want to bury their head in the sands and not know it. But it doesn't change it. Whether you know it or whether you don't know it, whether you want to acknowledge it or whether you don't want to acknowledge it, does not change the fact that this is what it is. There is a Harry Hines Boulevard in every city
that needs a documentary,
right? So it's just what it is. Whether you are aware of it or go by it or whatever, not telling the story doesn't change the truth. In fact, the telling of the story may actually rescue someone. The telling of the story may actually deliver someone. Right. It is probably, it is probably the reason why they are imprisoned is because you try to keep the lid on it. Right. It's probably the reason why the Jeffrey Epstein thing can happen.
Oh, absolutely. No problem.
Anything can happen. It's because you're trying to keep a lid on it.
Yeah. You got to let this. Hey, you can break those shackles if you shine some light on it.
Yeah. They say knowledge is power, which is freedom. But Jerry said it again in the interview. He says, I hate what you say, but I'll fight to the death for your right to say it. And that's big as far as I'm concerned.
No, that's it. It's one of those things where it's almost like, it's like Jonah and the great fish. We say well, but I don't want to go talk to these heathens. I don't want to deal with these people, but I guess I'm going to have to go. See, they don't talk about that aspect. They think he was just begrudging just cause. Yeah. It's like, no, I don't want to be seen with these people. But I tell you what, I'll go, I'll share the word, I'll give the good news. I'm gone. I'm out. What they do with it after that, I'm out.
That's right. That's right. In fact, I think that's what any good, journalist is supposed to do. You deliver the news,
Yes.
It's up to you how you interpret it, what you do. I'm just reporting the news.
Right.
You know, these shows, I'm just giving you a snippet. There are 5,000 other shows out there that have the right, the freedom to give you their perspective on whatever this news is. It is the reason why you have a CNN and a Fox News and a CNBC and a, you know, all these other
channels
and whatever. You can go get whatever to float your boat, whatever leans the way you need it to lean,
whatever you want.
But I personally try to not look at things that just line up with my view.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I try to go look at what the other side is saying.
Right. I'm that person.
I'm probably more down the middle than anything, you know, right? Some things sway conservative, some things I, you know, sway liberal on. But
absolutely.
But you know, I'm still gonna listen to what everybody got to say about it. You know,
I think that balance is good because I do the same thing. I watch Fox News, I watch CNN, I watch NBC, I watch ABC News. I do all of it because I'm just trying to see where people are coming from and picking those little things from like, okay, well, they're talking about this subject, but if I flip over to the next channel, they're not even mentioning this subject.
Right.
You know? So,
and it makes you think too, right? Like what the hell is going on?
Right.
But also it's because I like to say that I'm somebody who has an open mind, right?
Right.
I'm going to I could be wrong. I don't know everything.
Exactly.
I don't know what I don't know, right?
Right.
So I, you know, even though I may have a conviction about something, that doesn't mean that I've considered every single aspect, perspective, and perception of it.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I'm gonna check it out, you know, but unfortunately,
absolutely,
it isn't like that. Now, Wilkes mentioned it earlier. They called it the Springer Triangle. This is where, and again, they didn't know this at the time. They were not going to try to get guests from there. This is where those people were calling from because most of the time, a lot of the time, the producers were seeing these newspaper articles out there and they were reaching out to these people, or these people now knowing what the Springer Show was calling into the Springer Show and saying, I have a unique situation. I think I should come on your show, right? So the Springer Triangle is if you drew a line from Tennessee to Ohio to Georgia, it makes a triangle. And I want to say they say at 80% of their shows, the people came from that triangle. Okay. So again, it was from Tennessee, Ohio, and Georgia. It encompassed parts of Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, West Virginia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. I was so happy it didn't put Texas in this one, bitch. So, you know, I mean, again, Tennessee, Ohio, Georgia, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, West Virginia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. Hello? SEC country. Right? And I'm telling you, see, that's another thing too. Do you understand? Tell me the first time you understood that there were people in the mountains of West Virginia who did not, it's almost like its own country, man.
Yeah.
People in some of those parts of West Virginia and some parts of Alabama and some parts of Kentucky, dude, you don't know who these people.
Don't know. No, go ahead. I was gonna say, you don't know who these people are.
Yeah, I want there to be shows that exposes, you know, what else we have in this country, man.
This guy.
Yeah.
This guy. Can you get down, please? Jeez.
He just needs
say hello to fans
right now.
Down. Thank you.
He's just needing a right now.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, no, I mean, think about how they weren't going to tell their story. They had nobody to tell the story to. They were just living their normal lives, going on about their business. Now the town folks may have known it.
Yeah.
The locals may have known it, but now it's across the whole state. It's across the whole United States.
Yeah.
You know, it's out there in the open now, you know, and like I said, it was news to me that, okay, wait a minute, these stories are real, but now they're laughing at these people. They're preying on these people, bringing them on stage and, you know, and parading them around, but they willingly.
Yeah. So what do you think? Okay. So let's talk about this and I'm going to get your thoughts about guest treatment. Okay.
Yeah.
So the guests, they decided, yes, we love your story. We're going to have you come in to tape a show. They fly them in. So they're paying for their airfare. A lot of these people, had never left a little old city as a
Never been
town,
on a plane.
never been on a plane. They get to Chicago, they put them up in a nice hotel. They give them money for expenses, a per diem is what I'll call it.
Yep,
They
yep.
give them, they used to call them a drinks card. So I'm pretty sure it's drinks cards at certain local bars or
Oh, probably.
hotels or whatever.
Yeah,
And they told them go crazy, let them enjoy that night and everything before the show. One of the guests said, we came in, we partied all day, we stayed up to 2:00 in the morning, and we were up at 5:00 in the morning getting ready to go to the show that day.
yeah.
So talk to me before I get into my thoughts about it, about what you think about the guest treatment. Were they treating them fairly, unfairly? What do you think?
No, I think they were treating them according to their story. I think they were treating them according to their background. Like, okay, well, these people love to drink.
Yeah.
They like to party. They love their favorite. So then why not bring them to the big city and show them how to drink and party in the big city? I think they were treating them accordingly. To be honest.
And I think you said the key word. These were adults. These were not, you weren't bringing in kids, exploiting kids.
Exactly.
These were adults making adult decisions. Now,
exactly.
Were they being produced? They called it being springered, right?
Yeah.
But tell me how that's different than any reality show that we have on right now. The Real Housewives, Hip Hop.
Big Brother.
Say, me and my wife likes watching one. We're watching Married at First Sight. Yeah, Big Brother.
Yeah.
What's the other one? Survivor.
Yeah, it's been on forever,
right?
But yeah.
All of these are ones that they are being produced. They are telling me, what to say, how to go. They're not trying to calm them down.
No.
They are, so in the sense of the word, it is a bit of an exploitation.
Yeah.
But you signed up for this.
Exactly.
Am I wrong in that, man?
Nope, I don't think so. Like I said, I think they treated them accordingly, because the way the producer, when they talk to them, they got to know them, and like, hey, this person likes to party. This person likes this certain drink. This person likes this certain music. They're gonna play to that,
right? Of course,
we all do it. Even if you're dating somebody, you're playing to it. Whatever the case is, you're playing to that person's likes and dislikes.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know exactly what we're saying, it would be a situation where, okay, they got somebody coming on because their husband's got a secret to tell them or something of that nature. Well, they're telling them, hey, don't let them play you. Don't let them.
Thank you.
Don't let them. You follow what I'm saying? They ain't doing nothing different than what your girlfriend do to you on a Saturday night, girl. Let's go. We need to go tear his shit up. We need to go bleach his clothes. We need to go set his shit up.
That's what I'm saying. That's not
basically all they were doing.
Pretty much. That's what I'm saying. Hey, sending limos. They don't know the finer things. Let's treat them with the finer things. But in that limo, let's put their favorite drink. Let's put their music on. Let's get them to the airport. I'm telling you, they're playing to their people's likeness. That's just what the human nature is.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to have Ben and A-Trap on to see if any of them had any different perspective. Yeah. I believe we have a video from Ben that we'll watch.
Oh, okay.
Later, where he sent in his thoughts and whatnot. I do believe so. I'll try to find that. I think he sent that and uploaded it for me, I believe. But while we're waiting to get into the end of, we're still, believe it or not, I got most of my notes off of episode 1. I only got a little bit off of episode 2, but we'll go into that in just a little bit. Yeah. But before we do that, I want to go into right now what we're going to be reviewing next week. That's interesting. Interesting combo, isn't it?
It is, because I was getting like Charlie's Angels from one aspect, and then I don't know, Jamie, has he really been in an action kind of?
Not in a while.
I don't think so. Yeah, not either. Oh well, Collateral Damage is not the same.
Yeah, what's her name?
Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz. She was something about Mary, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, she just doesn't seem like the chick that you match with Jamie Foxx.
Right. Yeah.
It is Jamie Foxx.
Well, might clone Tyrone, but But
it seems
yeah,
like
no, I mean, she came out of retirement.
yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like they got good on-screen chemistry, from what I could tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch that so you can be able to.
Yeah, check that out. Is it? It's already ready. It's already out.
Yeah, it better be if we reviewing the shit next
Yeah,
week.
it better be shit. I was like, damn.
And I had it wrong. Ben was gonna upload a video of his final thoughts and stuff like that, but ran into some technical difficulties, so we couldn't get that uploaded.
All right.
So, if we have time next week, maybe him and A-Trap can give a brief little thought on what they thought about this documentary. Again, Jerry Springer Lights, Camera, Action. If you grew up in the Jerry Springer generation, I suggest you watch it. It's a nice trip back down memory lane.
It is.
It's not something we normally do. We normally review things that have a black lead, black subject matter, etc. And to a certain extent, you could say this qualified because there was plenty of black folks on Jerry Springer.
Oh man, we were all over Jerry Springer.
So we can, to a certain extent, say that it qualified.
Yeah, we got to the point where it was fights at school and we chanting Jerry. So I mean,
oh wow, hilarious, hilarious. Okay, so getting back toward the end of episode 1. So again, Oprah's criticism fired them up, and they said, "Oh, you talking shit? We finna ramp it up."
That was new to me.
Yeah, they said we're gonna ramp it up, and they actually beat Oprah in the ratings. Oprah had not been beating the ratings for I don't know how long.
Yeah,
she was criticizing them, and now we actually beat you on your ratings. How did you interpret that, and what they thought about beating Oprah and stuff like that?
Well, I think the aftermath was they didn't realize how. Yeah, okay, so we finally got to the precipice, but now we got to stay here. So the hard work now has to be done. How do we stay here? We can't we can't beat her in 1 week and then fall off.
Yeah. That was a very surprising reaction, and I think a lesson to all of us, right? You try so hard, you think you want to be on top so bad,
right?
That you have no idea
what it takes,
what kind of pressure this is going to be.
Yeah,
to be on top.
And there's a line that Dr. Dre says in one of his songs. He's like, "Yeah, sure, you got it, but the hardest part is keeping it." And
I think we see that play out over and over and over again in entertainment. Like time and time again, right?
Yeah.
To where how, in fact, we're watching. I don't know if you're watching Landman. This is what
I started the first episode.
Oh my God, dude. Do not keep going.
Yes. Okay? Yeah. I gotta finish Tulsa King, but yes.
You say you gotta what?
I gotta finish Tulsa King, but
matter of fact, I think I need to get back to that because I'm on the second season, but I think there's still 3 or 4 episodes I need to get on that one.
With Billy Bob?
Yeah, Billy Bob and everything he does. And everything that dude does.
A1, man.
Funny, okay? But I said that to say this. Demi Moore is in.
She shows up in that, right?
No, I didn't say she shows it, man. I said she's in it.
Oh, sorry.
But so my wife was like, "Why is she doing a show like this? She's got a small role." I'm like, "That's just it.
It's Demi Moore.
She's not. She's done. She's not. This ain't St. Elmo's Fire no more.
Yeah, no.
You understand? This ain't. That DM days is done.
To me, Demi Moore is the opposite of Meryl Streep. To me, I feel like Demi Moore she has made her track in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, and that's it.
And she's solidified herself, so she's definitely, to me, is that edgy Meryl Streep, where Meryl Streep is.
Yeah, what's that last big program she had? Strip, was it? Strip TV?
Yeah, that was a big deal.
That's been what, 10, 15 years ago? 15 years ago?
That's been a while, yeah.
And she was considered old then because they were talking about, wow, how great of a body she had at this age,
Right.
So you can see her now. I mean, she's an attractive female. Demi Moore is always going to be, but she's just not. She got to take these little roles like this.
She has to,
She want to keep in the limelight,
and that's how it gets you back into those small parts. They catapult you back into.
In fact, if you don't believe that, ask Lucy Liu.
Oh, absolutely.
Notice that she's been in a few more things lately.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And one leads to another, because you get back in the eye and somebody's going to be like, you know what? Demi might be
I
good.
got a role for this one.
There
Yeah.
you go,
Yeah.
I don't think they on no director's couches no more.
Yeah. Sorry.
But needless to say, so I think also that Jerry Springer, we talk about it was such a problem then, but it was the gateway to all of the reality TV shows we have now. Talk about
absolutely.
your thoughts when watching this and saying it was so controversial then that nowadays would it be?
It'd be like second nature.
It wouldn't be anything. And
because here's the thing. If like you said, if you do it today, people would think it's normal.
Right.
They wouldn't realize it started somewhere else.
And it may have been why it had to go off the air, not because it was overdone, and in the sense that it was our sensibilities didn't just catch up with us.
Right.
It was just because we've seen it. Okay, more boobs, more fighting, more racism, more, okay.
More titties.
Now Maury is taking over with this, or not the father, it's like it's drama, it's dirt, it's whatever.
Right.
So now it's just part of what's normal. You can turn on any show that is produced like this. Married at First Sight is one of the tamer ones, even though there's some parts of it that's kind of crazy. But Love and Hip Hop. You want to talk about fighting? Jersey Shore.
Oh gosh, yeah, absolutely.
Real World?
Yeah, Real World, Road Rules.
Yeah, Road Rules, the Bad Girls Club,
right?
All of this stuff,
Yeah.
And so, what are you going to do? You're going to censor all these things and say that they can't be on TV,
right?
Or are you going to say if you don't want to watch it, turn the channel?
Because that's what people want. That's what some people want. Like you said, turn the channel.
And they have parental controls on this stuff.
Yep.
So you really concerned about your son or daughter or whatever watching what they watch? Invest in some parental control.
And if I remember correctly, I believe that came along during the Clinton administration, where they started putting parental controls in the old tube TVs. You just had to put in a password.
Really?
And if it was something that you thought these channels couldn't be watched, you would, you block those channels. So
yeah. Now I know they have that in Netflix now. I'm not really familiar with it in other apps, but I do know that Netflix has parental controls where they're like, if a program is rated this, they got to have this pin. And as a parent, just don't get the kids the pin,
or just don't set one up.
Yeah, because I'm a firm believer that I'm gonna let them watch, because they need to be ready for what's out there.
Right.
And then it's episode 1 ends with I married a horse.
The funny thing is, I remember that episode.
And this dude left his wife and kid for a relationship with his Shetland pony. Not no quarter horse.
No.
Not no Clydesdale.
Yeah.
And he said they were being intimate.
Man, sir.
That horse kissed better than some of y'all, probably, based on
locking them lips in, lock them in, baby.
But this dude said he was being intimate with the horse.
Man said, I'm having heels, have eyes relationships with the horse.
So anyway, that's kind of how episode 1 ends.
Yeah.
But they also get into this murder. There's a love triangle show, which is probably been done thousands of times on Jerry Springer.
Yes.
They have one, but it ends in murder.
Right.
Kind of goes off episode 1. Episode 2 starts with it. But let me just give you the plot description under episode 2. No scandal is too big to damage the Jerry Springer show until the pressure of finding increasingly sensational stories takes a toll on the team. So again, love triangle, this older lady is with this guy. He cheats on her. She tries to get him back. They go on the show, supposedly under a false premise that something else is going to happen. She's going to be told this or that, or she's going to try to get him back or whatever. And they basically dropped a bomb on her. And it wasn't when the live show was ran. It was reruns about 90 days later or so. Is that how you understood it?
Yeah, that's how I got it. It was a rerun. It wasn't like, yeah.
Yeah. So the night that it reran on TV,
yes,
she gets killed. The
yeah,
one
she ends up
that
getting-
gets cheated on gets killed. And it was one of those situations where she met him on a dating app.
yeah.
You know, he was really probably just trying to take advantage of her and take her money, but she was,
Oh, yes.
I think she had lost her husband. She was lonely, got on a dating app, had a little money, bought them a house together, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He used her, cheated on her, and you know, so they ripped him pretty good on this show. And the night it got rerun, he was in a bar watching it.
Oh boy.
Oh, some people at the bar, I'm gonna kill her ass.
Right. Oof.
He did.
Yeah, literally.
Remember this happening at the time?
What's that?
Do you remember this happening at the time?
I didn't hear about this one.
Either.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things where it's like you follow Jerry Springer from my aspect. You follow Jerry Springer, you watched it for the fights. If there was anything legal or in the media, you didn't hear about it. You didn't, really focus on it because
unless you were looking, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, unless you were just really.
There was no TMZ at the time to keep.
No, exactly. So
on stuff like that.
And if it was more local, if it was a Chicago kind of thing where maybe it was heard there more or throughout the Midwest, I don't remember hearing it down here. But
right. Yeah, and so so this happens. They're starting to debate now as to how responsible is the show, for this murder.
I mean, I've heard it with Hell's Kitchen. Like somebody has left Hell's Kitchen and reportedly committed suicide or end up dead or something. They've tried to do that with Hell's Kitchen. I remember a few episodes or seasons where they try to make it like, oh, the pressure of Hell's Kitchen, this person committed suicide, but it's debunked or it's killed quickly. Like you don't.
Okay.
They distance themselves so fast from it. Like no.
I would be interested to see. I don't know if it's happened, but a show that based on the quote unquote pressure, and I'm sure it's probably happened, but where they get sued and actually lose,
right?
Because you're specifically responsible for whatever.
Right.
Happened,
Exactly. Episode
2 was largely the son of that murdered woman getting interviewed about how it all went down. The fact that nobody from the show ever called. Anytime there was a news article about it, they just said Jerry Springer gets murdered. They would never say her.
They want to,
like that. So he was offended big time by it and stuff like that. Then after that scandal, do you remember the other scandal? Jerry Springer has a threesome with some of his guests.
I do remember that because it eventually ended up on a magazine, but I didn't know much about like the details. But that was about it. I do remember seeing it on the magazine.
Yeah, and they were like, it really didn't the people weren't treating it like it was a big deal. And he was like the Hiroshima guy, one of the producers, he was like, our audience didn't care.
Right.
They probably liked Jerry even more after that.
Exactly. It added to the popularity. Now you really chanting Jerry.
Yeah. Now Jerry has a special needs daughter. They didn't talk much about his wife, though. Did you hear him talk about his wife?
No, only in that little moment of the scandal and in the divorce. But that was really about it.
Did you pick up that they got a divorce as a result of this scandal, or they were divorced?
No, I didn't. I don't know why they got a divorce. I think it was just
they properly said he was a private guy, didn't really have a lot. Like, I didn't even know he had a special needs daughter until this thing.
Hell, I didn't even know Jerry was married until this show, I guess. Yeah. So
anyway, Jerry gets his freak on and gets busted. video on it.
Yes.
They had video of it. Wasn't he was getting out of a hot tub or something like that?
Yeah, and then they had a bedroom. So I was like, man, they took the JVC recorder with the VHS and set it next to go. Then you ain't got no cell phone recording.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The big old camera sitting right there. TV camera.
Yeah. So chances are that was just his first time getting caught. Again, they beat up. So then they really cranked up on the fight scenes. Fight.
Yeah, they started ramping up. Let's talk and straight to it.
They were like, if it wasn't gonna be no fight, they didn't want it on. And they just had one caveat that the stories just can't be fake.
Right. Yep. That's what he said. Yeah, I remember that
a little earlier, and where I didn't ever think that anything was fake, but you're saying you thought some of it may have been made up.
Yeah, I thought maybe because honestly, I thought maybe they were running out of content and they just started.
So there you go. You don't even believe society is this fucked up the way you thought. Surely they're making this up, right?
Right. I'm like, okay, now you're just running out of content. The show is like Jerry has had his run. You've been on almost 5-10 seasons, 6 seasons, whatever. And I just thought at that point they were just like, oh, we're gonna bring so and so out. Well, when I see her, on site, and I felt like at that point they were just kind of running out of ideas and gas, just like. But to my surprise, no,
it was real.
It's a real deal.
In fact, there was only one show that's been proven that it was fake, and it wasn't the producers who were faking it. It was the people who called into the show or were getting interviewed about coming to the show.
Yeah.
And the producer, the female who was the producer and ended up getting fired as a result of it being fake, she said she should have known something because they were from Boston. And if you know the other the triangle of the Jerry Springer show,
Boston.
People weren't coming from that area.
Yeah.
She said
they were just on there trying to test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were on there throwing fake punches.
Yep.
And stuff like that live while it was being taped.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember hearing anything about that? Like all of this?
Man, I want to say yes and no, but I can't say for sure. But I feel like I did hear this because it was like they expose people's real scenarios and situations. Like, no, what the hell is this? What is this fake punch shit? We're not doing that. This shit is real. Like, I want to say I briefly heard that, but once again, it died down real quick. If it was something that was kind of not on the headlines.
Yeah, because nowadays you can talk about, some of these shows. A lot of them, people don't necessarily believe every single thing that's out there, but they still get ratings. There's some YouTube videos that I watch. Some of it I'm trying to, work on some content for Queen 3 and King and get some ideas and just kind of study some things too. Right. And I'm like, some of this stuff, I don't know if it's real or not. You can't tell necessarily, but it's still entertaining.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. We got Only Zeus and building Only Zeus 13. He goes, hey man, I'm just asking if you need a video editor to edit your live stream podcast and turn it into content that can be posted on social media. Thanks. No hate. Hey, what's going on, Zeus? No hate at all. Look us up on Facebook, man, and inbox us. We may could use you for something. We're always looking for a content creator and curator. So quite possibly. So try to hook up with BS3 Network on Facebook. Shoot us a message, and we'll go from there and talk and see what you can offer and what we're needing. So yeah, we may be able to do something. We got a few podcasts on the network that may be interested. Appreciate you for tuning in. Okay. So we had talked about the murder, and it kind of died down, but now the court is starting the trial is starting to happen.
Yes.
And rumors start floating that they're going to subpoena some people from the Jerry Springer show. All of a sudden, Jerry Springer show takes 60-something people to Jamaica to film a show in a swingers resort in Jamaica.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, because it was like Jerry on site or Jerry on something like that. I do remember that. I'm like, oh, they out of town? They traveling now?
Yeah.
I felt like they were taking it on the road. It's kind of like, I remember that.
And so Richard Dominic, when he was asked about this, said, hey, did y'all do that Jamaica show to prevent from being subpoenaed. And he was like, no, he goes, you can't take 60 people to a resort like that on a whim.
Yeah.
You hear rumors one day and then the next week we're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guests together, lining up schedules. So I tend to believe that, and also, okay, wait a minute. Just because you go take a show on the road for 2 weeks doesn't mean you can't be subpoenaed.
You could definitely be subpoenaed
back.
You're right.
Shit ain't over, is it?
I do remember Jerry traveling. The show started traveling after that point because it was like Jerry's coming to your city or something like that. I do remember that started happening.
Yeah, I just find it hard to believe that they would that they could actually pull that off. I mean, again, how long could you have been gone?
Right.
2 weeks or so maximum,
at least 2 weeks max.
You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't, so it's like, okay, they'll be back. We'll get them when they come back.
Yep.
So I just didn't get that. All right, we are up to our final thoughts, and we'll give Mike ratings again. And let me just make sure we don't have anything else that I was supposed to.
Yeah,
I think we're good. We got next week trailer. We talked about Mr. Cajun. So I think we are done with that. So talk to me. Tell me, give me your, well, before I do that, I'm going to tell you what I typically do. I'll give you what Rotten Tomatoes says 75%. IMDb says 6.5 out of 10. Metacritic gave it a score of 74. Here at the Fourcast, we give it a mic rating, 1 to 5 mics, 5 being the best. So talk to me. Tell me what you're thinking.
So I didn't even go into this with a rating because I was just like I didn't know this was even coming out. Mm-hmm. And when I saw it, I was just like, oh wow, I remember watching Jerry Springer, and no, I wasn't like that loyal to it where I could tell you every season, every episode, but I knew when Jerry was on. Right. It was definitely the talk of the town, the toast of the town. But I'd probably put it at a 4. I mean, it was one of those things where I do remember it. I was in high school at the time. I may have, I don't know, might have been a sophomore, junior at the time, maybe. But it definitely took me back as soon as I saw, because he was the king of prime time, nighttime. I mean, overnight. I mean, I remember Jerry coming on at like 9 o'clock, and then they'd show another Jerry at like midnight, But like I said, I didn't know what was a rerun, what was syndication, what was, new. But Jerry definitely was king of late night, in his own arena, as they say. It was like the Roman Coliseum all over again. So, yeah I enjoyed this. This took me back. Okay. And I do remember the aspects where they talk about, well, Jerry was such a nice guy. Jerry was just going along with everything that we may have presented to him. But it was us that were the driving force on the smut and on the fights and on what was shown. Jerry was just kind of like, he was in disarray sometimes. Like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? I mean, I remember those times where he's sitting down on the steps in the stand in the audience, and he's kind of like, oh my, what am I? Right. What am I doing? So
we didn't touch on that too, is how many talk shows he was getting interviewed on. Most of the late night circuit he was going on,
Oh yeah.
Talking about his stuff. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think 4 is a proper rating for this. Yeah. The documentary I thought was well done.
I thought it was too.
Well done. I think they covered, a pretty good aspect of it. This was one of the pieces we didn't touch on, is how taxing this was for the producers,
Oh yeah.
In fact, one of the producers that was on there, the Hiroshima guy or whatever his name was.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he was in the bottom doing coke.
Big time. And he quit for a while, stayed away for 2 years, came back, stayed a couple of years, and then ended up quitting for good,
And a small shout out, the blow up doll that was in the background. I remember that episode.
That sucker all over.
I remember they got to the point where they were tossing it around the audience. So shout out to the blow up doll making a cameo.
The blow up sex doll, I think.
Yes.
technically.
Yeah, the blow up sex doll. Thank you for making an appearance.
Yeah.
Hope they watched it.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was crazy.
All right. We do not know what will be on End of the Bench tomorrow, but we just say tune in to the End of the Bench, though. Support H-Rap on his network. And then tomorrow, again, Queen 3 and King. We come on Tuesdays at 7. Again, hopefully you can join us here in Forney at Mr. Cajun on the 28th at 7.
Gotta get there.
Tomorrow, we will be talking about the Black family crisis. This is one that you don't want to miss. If you are familiar with that term, or if that term rings a bell at all with you, you know the Black family has been under attack for a long time. You know, there are some tie-ins with regard to like the welfare system and stuff like that, you know, and that it was a strategic attack. So there are some things going on that we're going to talk about, you know, old and new, tomorrow on Queen 3 and King, again, the Black family crisis. So tune in for that. Again, next week we'll be doing Back in Action on Netflix, so watch that. And join us, give us your thoughts on that, and we will see you next week. And again, we're going to just end this one and shout out to Jerry.
IRP.
Take care of yourselves and each other next week.